Today's topic is confidence, and I'm not talking about the type of confidence that comes from just dressing good and feeling good, getting a matcha and going to work. Right? I'm talking about the type of confidence that it takes to be able to say no to a paycheck, to drop out of university or a traditional program that everyone around you is doing, and be able to pursue your goals full time. The type of confidence you need to be able to go to a new country with no business plan and try to figure shit out, to be able to take late night bus rides to places you've never been to and still come out on the other end with a smile on your face. It's that type of confidence that I feel like I have learned a thing or two about very recently as a 22-year-old that's still in university but traveling the world, building a company and doing business with people that are way out of my league. And that's kind of what I want to share before it kind of fades off my mind. So if anyone else in that stage, in my shoes, is watching this, maybe it could help them. So I started off in university. I remember after the first year being extremely dissatisfied with myself. And that's usually what any ambitious person has when you have big dreams and big goals. But when you look at yourself in the mirror, it's nowhere near that person you believe yourself to be, right? And so I looked hella depressed. I had been hitting the gym for about a year or so, but I never looked like it. And I had all these things I wanted to do, business related, entrepreneurship related, but I was stuck in this cycle of just consuming videos and not actually doing anything. And that was what I was getting. That was what was feeding a lot of this anxiety and frustration. And yeah, about 2 years later, I was able to work on this startup idea, take the plunge, go to San Francisco, convince my uni to give me a 5K grant, not do a basic internship. And I met a bunch of people there that completely changed my life. I got acquired by people backed by Sam Altman, people I thought I would never meet. And I built things online that I didn't think I was capable of. And just the last few months being able to travel to all these different cities and now being in talks of a bigger company trying to acquire this thing I'm working on is all has come from being able to build confidence and being able to stack up proof for this self-belief and kind of delusion that it seems like in the beginning, right? And I wouldn't have been able to do this if at each step I didn't gain the confidence I needed to be able to take those plunges and risks. So there were some mental models that I learned that helped me take those risks, and I kind of noted them down, so I'm going to talk about them. So in the beginning, when you have nothing to look back to, like no logical reason to being confident. For example, you want to achieve a certain physique in the gym, but every time you go out with your friends and there are drinks on the menu, there's all these other things you can eat. You need to confidently believe that you should not eat them in order to achieve that goal, but it almost never happens, right? Because you look in the mirror and you're so far away from that goal. So what do you kind of think about then? And there's this quote that I came across at that time which helped me think. It changed my mindset when it came to building confidence. Actually, before even that quote, the first pillar of confidence that I learned is that confidence comes from stacking proof. Confidence comes from stacking proof. So what's the difference between just having delusional self-belief and having confidence? It's when that delusional self-belief about who you are, who you're meant to be, has physical, tangible proof that you've stacked up and you can look at. For example, if you want to achieve a certain type of life, like I want to achieve a certain type of physique, I want to achieve certain milestones in fitness, such as running a marathon, completing an Ironman, right, in my life. But if I've never even done a 5K, if I've always just looked fat my whole life, it's going to be extremely tough for me to have confidence in my ability to achieve these things, right? And so to become that person that does Ironman, that does half marathons on a daily basis, you have to stack up proof that you are that identity you're trying to become, which is an athlete. And so this proof comes from simple as being able to go on runs weekly, being able to do a 5K, then a 10K, then a half marathon. And initially, when you haven't done anything, there's a quote that I came across that helped me think about having potential and stacking up proof. And the quote goes something like, the rose is a rose from the time it is a seed till the time it dies. Within it, at all times, it contains its whole potential. This quote is from a book called The Inner Game of Tennis. Damn, that's a cute dog. And yeah, it's a quote from the book Inner Game of Tennis, which I highly recommend you reading. And it helps me reframe how I think about potential. It can feel really bad when you look back and see that you don't have any physical proof for the type of person you're trying to become. But you should know at that time that you have all this unfulfilled potential inside you, right? Just like a rose does from the time it's a seed till the time it dies. And so, given that, so it's almost like that potential should be reason enough to go out and do these things. And yeah, the second point I realize is confidence comes from being purely, almost autistically focused on action. Like without overthinking, without coming up with plans, just doing action. I was stuck in this loop of consuming, and it was almost like mental masturbation where you're just consuming self-improvement content but not taking action on it. And that was the biggest gap for my confidence. It was just lack of action, of putting myself in uncomfortable situations. So much that I would feel anxious if I would even talk to people that were strangers, right? And so for that, I put this one action item that I followed every day for almost 3 years. And it was having one stranger interaction every day. And so I would every day find some person, whether it was a random dude in my lift or the gym receptionist or a trainer or any random person that you go and you speak to and you have an interaction with. And having done that over time, it builds that stack that you can literally look at your week and look at the number of times you've spoken to a stranger. You can count the number of strangers you speak to, and that builds confidence to be able to go to a new country and speak to people where you don't know the language, become friends with them, do business with them, make money, stuff like that, right? And yeah, as someone that's early, obviously I have certain privileges that I am aware of. Despite them, I think your confidence does get built through taking big risks, and I think the best time to do that is when you're young, because that's when you have the capability to be able to learn and improve. And yeah, you just don't have much at risk, like what are you even risking? Sure, if things go down, you have the rest of your life to make up and do other things. So yeah, I would say be autistic about action, take big risks. Some big risks I took was, instead of doing an internship, I flew to San Francisco with no plan. I made up this startup idea that I used to convince my university was worth going to SF for, and found investors to fund that program, and got 5K from them and flew to SF. I very recently, 3 months ago, again, didn't do an internship and just flew to Buenos Aires and then Chile with no plan to try and make this startup dream work. And the best thing about, or like the most valuable thing I did when taking these risks, it could be as simple as doing a half marathon, is I would publicly tell the world about it. I would post it on my Instagram, I would post it across my socials. So even though no one else really cares, I feel like I have told people I would do it, and I need to prove that I do it. Once you consistently show up for the things you tell yourself, you will develop this level of confidence that is only felt and can't be put into words. And that is what you need to be able to take bigger risks and do bigger things. Or at least that's how I learned. And yeah, last thing I want to say is the easiest way to build confidence is through building a good physique. I prioritize gym, fitness, health a lot. I spend a lot of money into it every month. And it's because the easiest way to get to have this confidence to be able to walk into a room and demand things from people that have built multi-million-dollar startups is by having a physique that's better than them, especially when you're young. When you're young, you walk into a room where everyone's way older than you, they at least take you more seriously if they see that they literally see physical discipline on your body, right? And doesn't matter if my startup thing doesn't work. It doesn't matter if somebody else is more financially better off than me. I can always go look in the mirror and see that I am physically better than that person. That my physique is better, and it shows like years of discipline and hard work. I mean, trust me, getting a good physique and being able to run a half marathon, these things are not easy. And once you do have a good physique, other people respect that, and more than that, you respect it about yourself. And yeah, if you're someone that's trying to become a startup founder like me, having a physique is just one of those things that no matter how much better another person in front of you, an investor or whatever is, just having one thing that they can learn from you is such an upper hand or such an advantage that you can leverage. I'll definitely leverage that. Doesn't matter if the people that I'm working with are smarter than me and have built startups that have made hundreds and millions of dollars. At least I can teach them something in a domain where I am better off, whether that's physically or whatever, right? And so, yeah, for me, it's the physique. And I think as a man, you should, or a woman, you should work on your physique and have that as the easiest way of getting confidence. It's stackable proof. You wake up and look in the mirror and notice literally every day. And yeah, if not the physique, then having mastery in one domain is just such a confident thing, because that's something no one else can take from you, right? No amount of money can ever take away a good physique. So yeah, those are 3 things I've learned about confidence, and it's allowed me to take bigger risks. I'm literally just about to drop out of university, and I'm not thinking about it twice because I've been in similar situations before. I can look back, see the stackable proof that I've created over the last 2 years, and yeah, it just allows you to do bigger and better things. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Ciao.